Welcome to Driving.ca. I'm Jay Canna, and after the infamous launch of the VinFast VF8, they're here with a new VF9. It is their 3-row SUV. And well, since we're outside, let's have a little chat about some of the features that stand out. First up are the massive air scoops, and I could fit my whole arm through them. And good on you, VinFast, for thinking about aerodynamics, especially with an EV. Next up is a peculiar one, and it's the fact that there are running boards on this vehicle. It's not particularly high, and I've hit the back of my leg every single time I've tried to get out of the vehicle, and I've bumped my shin so many times trying to get in because there are these absolutely useless running boards on the VF9. And finally, it's the door handles, and they're flush, and you push in to the end of it and then the lever comes out, but it doesn't come out a lot, and it's just poorly engineered and it feels weird, and I don't know why they did it that way as opposed to the several other ways you can engineer a door handle. In this video, we'll go through how the VF9 drives, what the interior is like, and pricing and competition, and see if there's an actual improvement here from the VF8 to the VF9, and if the mid-70,000s price tag from what they're asking matches the value that's presented here. Starting off with some numbers, there's a 123 kilowatt per hour battery in both trims, the Eco and the Plus of the VF9. Horsepower comes in at 402, and it's 457 pound-feet of torque. It's all-wheel drive. Charging speed maxes out at 150 kilowatts, which is a little low considering the Ioniq 9 and the EV9 can run up to 350 kilowatts. Now, VinFast says the VF9 can go from 10 to 70% in 35 minutes, again through that 150 kilowatt speed. You can get the VF9 in either a 6 or a 7-seat configuration. Opt for the Eco/base trim, and it's 2+3+2 with a bench seat in the middle. The Plus gives you the option to get rid of that bench seat and replace it with 2 captain's chairs for a price of $1,550, at least as far as 2025's figures go. On the range side, the Eco comes in at 518 kilometers, which is a respectable number. Opt for the Top Trim Plus, and that comes down not a lot, but enough to make a pretty big dent to a total of 462 kilometers. On the cargo side of things, with that third row up, you get 212 liters of cargo space. Put that third row down, and that balloons all the way up to 926 liters. And yes, there is a front trunk/frunk, and you get 100 liters of cargo space in there. So good for small things like a charging cable or little knickknacks that you don't need access to all the time, but you still want in and around your vehicle. 2 more sets of numbers. The VF9 rings in at 6,417 pounds, so it is significantly heavy. And well, compare that to the Hyundai Ioniq 9 and the Kia EV9, which come in a little under 6,000 pounds. It's significantly heavier, and that'll come into play on the driving side of things. And the last number, which will help me segue into the interior, is the total height of the vehicle. So this is only 66.6 inches tall. Compare that to the Ioniq 9, which is 70.5 inches. And 3.9 inches may not seem like a lot on the exterior, but it really makes a difference inside. And specifically, it's that third row where you feel it the most. So the third row is pretty small. There's minimal headroom, again, thanks to the lower height of the vehicle. The floor is quite high, so when I got in there, my knees were nearly bent in half. So it's pretty uncomfortable. It's really tight, and yes, on this top trim you get a USB port and you get your own dedicated small panel fixed, but it's still a sunroof, so you get some light coming in there. But the seats are rock hard, and it's just uncomfortable to be in there. And I wonder if VinFast traded the aesthetic for a very long station wagon-esque look for something a little taller. 9.9 chances out of 10, that's going to improve the headroom for your third row passengers, and as well as your second row passengers as well. Now, speaking of that second row, with these captain's chairs, it is extremely spacious, lots of headroom, lots of legroom, and the seats are heated, they are ventilated, and they are massaging. So pretty good move there as far as trying to position themselves as an upmarket brand, and good for them for hitting the trifecta of seat amenities here in the VF9 second row. There's a small screen back there that lets you control your HVAC and the volume, and again, the heated, ventilated, massaging seats. And it's right at the bottom though, so it's a little cumbersome to reach out to. Seats are a little more comfortable than in the second row. Still not great overall, and even with the massage kicking in, it's okay. Another good thing about the second row captain's chairs is they fold/tumble forward, and they get released off their rear hinges to give you easy and spacious access into that third row. Moving up to the first row, you again get the trifecta for seats. You get them heated and ventilated, and the massaging seats, and this all comes on the Top Plus trim. It's vegan leather for the Eco trim and premium vegan leather for the Plus trim. Doesn't matter what you call it, these seats are very uncomfortable. There is minimal side bolstering, there is minimal thigh bolstering. It's pretty flat, not really contoured, and I've done a fair amount of driving this week, and it's just been uncomfortable. And I would rather give up the ventilated seats and give up the massage seats if I had just a better overall quality of seat material, something that didn't feel like I was sitting on a piece of plywood. And I really feel this is a big miss as far as the VF9 goes, A, for the price point, and B, for the brand that's trying to position themselves as a premium upscale brand in the EV world. There is no digital instrument cluster in front of you. Everything is based on this 15.6-inch screen, as is the trend that some of the manufacturers are following. So on the left side, about 30% of it is your drive modes. It is your speedometer. It has your key functions as far as what would be in a traditional digital instrument cluster. And on the right is the infotainment side. So that takes care of all your usual suspects. So audio and your settings and your sound and your themes and just anything that a traditional infotainment system would cover. A couple of key misses here. The backup camera is extremely low res, and it gets even worse at night. The side view cameras are positioned funny and on such a steep angle, it makes you blink a few times to actually click into what you're looking at and what's beside the vehicle. Not really the best move for a vehicle in 2025, especially as a new brand trying to stand out. I feel the majority of potential VinFast customers would pay an extra few dollars for at least a medium res backup camera, let alone something on the high res side. Another miss here is the audio system. It's a 13 speaker setup, and it sounds flat all the time. It kind of sounds like AM radio, and I've played with the settings for bass, middle, and the treble side, and I've played with all the different equalizer settings, and no matter what I do, it still sounds extremely tinny and thin, and something unexpected here for, again, a vehicle at this price point in the market that they're going after. There's no digital rear view mirror, and the true reasons that bothers me is that the rear glass is so small and thin, so you're already compromised for vision when you're looking out of your rear view mirror through that back glass. And as a three-row crossover, if you have all these seats filled, or if you have something tall in the trunk or whatever it is, it's going to be even harder to see out of that very small rear glass. So I'm not sure why they opted to not put a digital rear view mirror in, but I hope they do that at least for the next model year. The Top Plus trim comes with this beautiful, massive panoramic sunroof but it doesn't come with a sunshade. You got to pay extra for it. That's a really, really peculiar decision, because in summer, you know, the sun's beating down, as you can see right now, and not offering a standard sunshade for your first or second row passengers is a little peculiar, and I don't know what the thinking is or the logic behind that, but it's an odd decision to exclude it. Back to the 15.6 infotainment / digital instrument cluster screen, your speedometer is in a pretty small font and it's on the upper portion on the left side. Thankfully, there is a head-up display, and as bonus points, which I will give VinFast VF9, you can change the color between white, blue, and green. So in winter, if you're driving this and it's snowing and having a white color for your head-up display, it might be a bit hard to see. So having your choice of color really makes a difference as far as utilizing that head-up display, keeping your eyes on the road as opposed to turning them to the right and down a little bit to see that speedometer in the infotainment screen. The VF9 does come with wireless charging, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. Now the Plus trim gets wireless charging in the second row and wireless charging obviously up front. Strangely, the wireless charging didn't work for me at all week for both the front and rear seats. I'm sure it's just an easy fix, but not a great look when this is an all-new vehicle. It's their largest offering, and you kind of expect to have the basics covered. On the driving side of things for the VF9, it's a big disappointment. It's slow, it's sluggish, it's feeble, it's timid. And when you're starting off from a stop, I've never felt this before, but there's a half second to full second just lag from the time my foot goes down until the car starts moving. And yes, I know it's almost 6,500 pounds, but there is a massive battery. Power figures are in the 400s. It shouldn't have this much of a delay and this much of a lag in actually going from a dead stop to being in motion. And once you're at your cruising speed, you know, whether that be on urban streets or back roads or highways, it settles down a little bit, but there's a lot of road noise here. You feel almost all of the road imperfections, and it's really disappointing, again, for a vehicle that's being positioned as premium upscale, maybe edging into luxury territory as far as VinFast is presenting this. But at this price point, and I know I keep coming back to it, but it's all relative to what you're getting in the vehicle, and drive feel may not be the most important thing for a lot of people, but it seems that VinFast has missed just the basics of crafting and delivering a smooth, comfortable, pleasant ride. And maybe the fix is a different type of suspension in future model years, or maybe it's different tires, or there's a lot of different ways to rectify this. But the way it stands now is it's been an unpleasant, uncomfortable, disappointing ride feel from the VF9. There are also massive blind spots with these huge A-pillars, and it's not just the A-pillars, it's where the side mirrors are positioned, and that's just an extension of the blind spot. And you have to really crane your neck to the left or to the right to see what's in those blind spots. And yes, there are surround view cameras here, but they're low res again and on a really peculiar angle. So you really have to watch how you're maneuvering this, especially at slow speeds, whether it's in a parking lot or you're parallel parking or wherever it is. There is a huge turning radius on this, which makes it very uncomfortable and cumbersome to maneuver in smaller spaces. And it's 48.1 feet for the full turning radius, which is pretty high. And yes, I know, 3-row crossover, extremely long wheelbase, but I wish they took a little more care when designing the vehicle to at least bring that down by a couple of feet. One positive on the driving side is that the VF9 holds its range pretty well. So this is rated again at 462 kilometers per full charge, and I'm on pace to do 457, so that is certainly a redeeming quality for the VF9. There are 3 levels of regen, low, medium, and high, and you adjust it through the screen. Or you take advantage of the cool party trick here in the VF9, which is the trip reset button on the end of the turn signal stalk, and you dig into the infotainment system and you can actually adjust it. So it can be either your trip reset, it can change your drive modes, it can change your level of regen, or it can activate the camera. So really handy as far as not having to dig through the screen for every single thing. And yes, it's most things, unfortunately, including the HVAC, but I think that's a really cool move as far as making it a little more pleasant for the driver to adjust critical things that most drivers would on a daily basis. Final note on the driving side of things is you have 3 drive modes: Eco, Normal, and Sport. Eco, Normal, kind of the same thing. You still have that slow, sluggish feel. Putting it into Sport nullifies that to a degree. You get a little more jump off the line, but still there's that unfortunate lag and hesitation with it. On the competition side, it's the Hyundai Ioniq 9 and the Kia EV9. With the Ioniq 9, it starts a touch beneath $65,000 Canadian MSRP, and you dress it up all the way to the 9s with their ultimate calligraphy package, and that brings you into the low $80,000 point, and that's more of a match for what we have here with the Plus trim. Looking at the Kia EV9, there is no fancy package. It's just, here's the Land trim, here's the all-wheel drive, and price point is again a few dollars underneath that $65,000 point. I'm not going to count the Volvo EX90 or the Rivian. Those are over 6 figures. Yes, they are still 3-row EVs, but a completely different class. After stumbling out of the gate with the VF8, I think there were a lot of high hopes for the VF9, and simply put, there is a huge disconnect between what's being offered for drive feel, fit and finish, quality, included features, including the missing sunshade, and the price point being in the high $70,000 point. And it's really too bad, because I think that with a few corrections, the VF9 could have been something that really contended here in the 3-row EV market. But as it stands now, it's better than the VF8 as far as build quality and just overall quality goes, but there's still a long road ahead of VinFast, specifically here with the VF9, to make it a relevant and value-filled competitor again in this 3-row EV market. That's going to wrap it up for the 2025 VinFast VF9 review. Let us know if you have any questions. We are happy to engage in respectful conversations online. Visit our website, which is Driving.ca, for more news, reviews, and information you can use on EVs of all different shapes and sizes. And please connect with us on our social media platforms. For Driving.ca, I'm Jay Canna.